It was around this time last year that I was gushing over the LEGO Daily Bugle set, and here I am again with another LEGO Marvel D2C set, this time the Sanctum Sanctorum. It's one of 2022's best sets, though it's not without its faults. I wanted to highlight some of the areas that I really love, and just like the Bugle video, I wanted to talk about the character selection and where I see room for improvement. This set, more so than the Bugle, has some questionable absences, so let's take a look. This is the first time that the Sanctum has looked like this. Every genuine Sanctum release has gotten bigger and bigger, and now we have a proper building complete with fun little extras like portal walls and sticker details. The build is actually pretty deceiving in how it looks. You assume it's a modular 3 levels and you do build in levels, but it's actually only 2 levels in total. This middle and bottom floor is one tall wall with a big staircase in the middle. It's accurate to the movie's appearance, but it feels like it's less than a build compared to other modulars. We have hidden details in areas that you likely won't remember to get to. We have a little trophy room up top as well, which might resemble this room from the first movie, a little unclear. It's a good addition though. Onto the figure selection in the order that you build them in. Fun fact, the order that you build the figures in is also in order of movies, technically. Here is Doctor Strange himself. He is the exact same figure that appeared in the Garganto set for the Multiverse of Madness, so he is representative of Multiverse of Madness, not the 2016 Doctor Strange. Just ignore that. He's a little lackluster in his exclusivity here. The cape is cool, but there's already been a few opportunities to get this now. He's pretty Bob standard. I wish he was pushing extra. Every figure from here on is exclusive to this set, but only a handful are exclusive characters with first time appearances. Wong is here, holding on to a spare hairpiece for me. Let's just ignore that. Wong is a mishmash of parts previously used across other figures. I believe this is his appearance from the 2016 Doctor Strange movie and Infinity War. He does use the same torso patterns as the Infinity War special pack figure, and he looks completely different to the Multiverse of Madness figure. He is a pretty good inclusion. Onto the Infinity War inclusion, we start with Ebony Maw. He is a redesign from the first time that we saw this guy, and a much better figure for it. His grey skin is more prominent here, and his patterns and colours work better as well. He also has these grey pincer-like weapons, which he does use in the movie, a lot more accurate to those yellow power blasts. Your next figure is Iron Man, whose hair Wong was borrowing just for a sec there. He uses the new Iron Man helmet and is based off of the Infinity War armor. I actually like this new helmet a lot as a brand new addition towards the Iron Man figures. I don't know if I like it more than the other one or not, but I'm happy that it's here. Ending the Infinity War figures is Spider-Man. Odd choice of a costume for sure. This is the Homecoming suit for which he wears in Infinity War for about 5 minutes, and not near the Sanctum, mind you. His prints are similar to the previous ones, but with a little extra details on, say, the shoes. The colours are a lot brighter here, thankfully. The biggest difference between the figures is his mask. It's the new Tom Holland one that they used for the No Way Home sets, as opposed to the old one for the original releases. It's really jarring to me when LEGO use the newer designs when remaking older figures, but clearly it's a cost-effective strategy. It is cool to have the Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. It's just a weird choice. We move on to the Multiverse of Madness representation now with a slight out-of-order appearance of figures. Here is Sinister Strange. Compared to the reference footage, he actually does seem accurate enough, but I really dislike the hairpiece that they chose for him. The extra eye is the best detail, and it did give away at who this guy is, but he's just an okay figure in my eyes. Wanda is your next figure, and she's pretty lacking as well. Her prints are so much better this time around compared to the CMF figure, but there is no fabric skirt, and that is just ridiculous. It is literally one of her defining costume additions, and it is frequently skipped over. Her stern facial expression is a much better one than the goofy smile from that CMF figure, but the hairpiece is lacking again. Mordo is the next figure and the biggest change in comparison. I love this hairpiece so much. LEGO never seemed to do cornrows or dreadlocks, despite the characters in their material desperately needing them, so this hair is very useful for me. I love the sand green colours as well, and that cape is gorgeous. His expressions are also very useful for other custom characters. This is my favourite figure from the set if you couldn't already tell. Finally, we have Dead Strange, who is also a top tier figure. We now have zombies of Cap and Strange for those counting at home. His prints are fun, his hair is great. This is a pretty solid figure, even if he looks nothing like the source material due to the gruesome and grotesque content. So what's missing? Well, man, I'm glad you asked. Let's just say a lot. For starters, I think LEGO shot themselves in the foot by making this an MCU set. I've been saying for years we need more comic-themed figures, not just MCU sets. I want to have these characters in their comic counterpart as well as the MCU. Doctor Strange has now had 4 figures released and has appeared in 5 sets total, all of them are Benedict Cumberbatch based. This also means technically this doesn't fit the Bugle either, since the Bugle is based on comic stuff and this is MCU. I hate to be that guy, but I like keeping my comic dudes and my movie dudes separate from one another. Because this is MCU based, I'll only be going over MCU characters that are missing, which actually does make this list a lot easier. There is still a large number of people MIA, so let's get into it. Doctor Strange 2016. I would have loved a Stephen Strange before taking on the mantle of Doctor Strange. Give us the raggedy clothes, give us his new hairpiece, maybe a thicker beard print as well. I love superheroes that are in their Civ attire as extras, so I wish that this was here. The Ancient One, who only appeared in one set before this. Tilda Swinton appeared in more than one movie. Where's she at? Her yellow hooded costume is dying to be turned into Lego. The bright colours would have made such a cool, unique minifigure. Mordo has only been released once beforehand, but since we would be getting a newer variant in the Multiverse of Madness figure, his absence isn't actually that important. Just worth mentioning. Caecilius. Lego Mads Mikkelsen. What the hell? Why hasn't this been done yet already? Mads Mikkelsen has been in 3 of the biggest pop culture franchises of all time that Lego also happened to make products for, and the guy has not made it into one set. The face print that I imagine of him in my head with his purple crystal eyes would be such a unique print, but also his orange robes would pop out as well. Astral Form Doctor Strange. Look, listen, Lego has got to start making these translucent figures soon. I mean, what the? Come on. Avengers Infinity War. The Sanctum appears at the beginning of the film during the encounter with Ebony Maw and Cull Obsidian. Hey, speaking of, Cull Obsidian! Cull Obsidian's absence is purely because he is a big fig. Those things are not cheap to make. It feels weird and too obvious to only have one of the 2 members of that scene here. Another missing member of that scene though, Bruce Banner. Bruce appears fully in the Sanctum and is the person who gives the grave dire warning of Thanos to Doctor Strange. He also stands right next to the gang when confronting the Black Order. See, he's right there on the street. Given he's just a regular figure, it would have been nice to have him included as well, and he shares more of an integral role for the Sanctum's appearance than someone like Spider-Man does. But if we're missing Cull Obsidian, then what's another figure going to do to change that, alright? Iron Spider. I like the Spider-Man figure a lot, and I'm glad that that figure exists, and I'm glad that I have him, but we could have just had him in an upcoming 2023 release instead. Iron Spider is a bad figure, he needs a remake, this was the opportunity. Multiverse of Madness. The Sanctum's appearances are mostly in the forms of other variants in this movie, hence why Mordo is here. Mordo doesn't appear in the Sanctum that we know as the audience, but he does appear in his universe's Sanctum. You know who else is in this exact scene? America Chavez. It would be a reuse, sure, but it just makes sense to me to bring all of the key players from Multiverse of Madness into this one set, does it not? She could have had a more accurate hairpiece or an extra accessory to make it a little more worthwhile. The Garganto set isn't that expensive, sure, but it just would have been a nicer inclusion. Christine Palmer. I list her here for Multiverse of Madness over 2016 because her costuming is a lot more interesting in this film. She also appears in the Sanctum in Sinister Strange's world. She watches over Doctor Strange as he takes over the dead body, so I would have appreciated having this figure as well. Defender Strange. Just go all out on the variants, you know? What the hell, why not? His costume is so much better than Sinister Strange. I think the reason he wasn't included here is because his corpse was. Maybe Lego would feel a little iffy on including a live version of a character and the literal corpse of that same character. That is my Doctor Strange and the Sanctum Sanctorum talk. What are your thoughts on this set? Who are the Marvel figures that you've been waiting for Lego to make? Subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and liking the video helps support the channel. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.